The perfect friendship. Emma and Mia had been best friends since they were little girls. They grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same school, and even shared the same lunchbox during recess. Their bond was strong. Everyone called them inseparable. If you saw Emma, you would see Mia walking right beside her, smiling and laughing. Emma was the quiet, gentle type. She loved reading books, painting, and spending time with her family. Mia was the complete opposite, loud, confident, and always the center of attention. But somehow, their differences made them perfect for each other. They balanced one another like sunshine and rain. As they grew older, their friendship only got stronger. In high school, they did everything together, studied, attended parties, and shared secrets late at night. Emma always felt lucky to have Mia in her life. She believed their friendship would last forever. When they started college, life began to change. They met new people and joined different clubs, but their bond still felt unbreakable. That's when Emma met Ryan. He was charming, funny, and kind, the kind of guy who made everyone smile. He helped her carry her books one rainy afternoon. And from that small act of kindness, a love story began. Mia was the first person Emma told about Ryan. She was excited, blushing as she spoke about how sweet he was. Mia laughed and teased her, saying, "Finally, my best friend is in love." At first, Mia seemed genuinely happy for Emma. She even helped her choose outfits before dates and gave her advice on what to say. For Emma, everything felt perfect. She had her best friend and the love of her life. What could possibly go wrong? But life has a strange way of testing people. Slowly, Emma began to notice small things. Ryan started texting more often when she wasn't around. Sometimes, when Mia came over, he seemed a little too friendly. Once, Emma walked into a cafe and found Mia and Ryan sitting together, laughing. They said it was just coincidence, that they ran into each other. And Emma believed them because she trusted them both completely. Weeks turned into months, and Emma couldn't shake the strange feeling in her heart. Ryan started canceling plans, saying he was busy. Mia, too, became distant, often making excuses when Emma asked to hang out. Still, Emma told herself not to worry. "They're my favorite people," she whispered to herself. "They would never hurt me." But one evening, everything changed. Emma had planned a surprise birthday dinner for Ryan. She decorated the restaurant with balloons, photos, and candles. She was so excited. She even wore the dress he said he loved. She texted Mia to come early and help set up. But Mia didn't reply. Ryan also didn't answer her calls. After waiting for an hour, Emma decided to go to Ryan's apartment. Maybe he wasn't feeling well, she thought. When she arrived, she knocked on the door softly. No answer. She pushed the door open. It wasn't locked. Inside, she heard laughter. Familiar laughter. Emma's heart stopped. She followed the sound and found Ryan and Mia sitting together on the couch. Mia's head was on Ryan's shoulder. For a second, Emma couldn't move. Her heart pounded in her chest. Her hands shook. Ryan jumped up when he saw her, his face pale. Mia looked frozen. "Emma, that's not what you think," Ryan said, his voice trembling. But it was exactly what she thought. Emma didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stood there, silent, tears filling her eyes. The pain in her chest felt unbearable, like her world had shattered into pieces. Without saying a word, she turned around and left. The night air felt cold against her skin. She walked home, her tears mixing with the rain that had started to fall. She couldn't believe that the two people she loved and trusted the most had betrayed her. That night, Emma cried until she had no tears left. She deleted their numbers, blocked them on social media, and decided she would never look back. But deep inside, her heart still ached. She wanted answers. She wanted to know why. Little did she know, this heartbreak was just the beginning of her transformation. The pain of betrayal. The next few days were the hardest of Emma's life. Her phone kept lighting up with messages from Mia and Ryan, but she didn't open a single one. Every time she saw their names, her chest tightened. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and every song on the radio reminded her of them. Her mom noticed something was wrong. "Emma, sweetheart," she said gently, "you've been quiet lately. Is everything okay?" Emma tried to smile. "I'm fine, Mom," she whispered, though her eyes said something else. At night, when everyone was asleep, Emma sat by her window, looking at the stars. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Why did they do this to me? I trusted them. I loved them." Her mind replayed every memory. The way Mia laughed at her jokes, the way Ryan held her hand, the three of them hanging out together and calling themselves the unstoppable trio. It all felt like a cruel joke now. But in between the sadness, something started to change inside her. At first, it was anger, burning quietly like a small fire. Then came the realization they don't deserve my pain. The next morning, Emma made a decision. She stood in front of the mirror, wiped her tears, and said to herself, I can't change what they did, but I can change what happens next. She decided to focus on herself. She went back to college, started painting again, and even joined a small art club. Her art became her escape. Every stroke of her brush carried her pain, but also her strength. People began to notice her talent. One day, while she was painting in the college art room, a guy named Ethan stopped by. He was kind, funny, and had an easy smile that made people feel comfortable. That's beautiful, he said, pointing to her painting of a broken heart with flowers growing out of it. Thanks, Emma replied softly. It looks like hope after pain, he said. Emma looked at him, surprised by his words. That's exactly what it means. From that day, Ethan often visited her in the art room. They talked about life, music, and dreams. For the first time in months, Emma laughed again. It felt strange but good, like sunlight after a long storm. Meanwhile, Mia and Ryan's relationship began to fall apart. What started as excitement soon turned into guilt and arguments. Ryan often brought up Emma, saying he missed her kindness. Mia hated hearing that. She realized that taking what wasn't hers didn't make her happy. It only left her empty. One afternoon, Emma received a message from Mia. Emma, please talk to me. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm really sorry. I made a mistake. Ryan isn't who I thought he was. Emma stared at the message for a long time. Her heart was calm now, not angry, just tired. She didn't reply. Instead, she put her phone away and went to her art class. Later that evening, Ethan found her sitting alone by the campus lake. You look thoughtful, he said, sitting beside her. Emma smiled faintly, just thinking about how people change. Ethan looked at the sunset and said, maybe they don't change. Maybe they just show who they really are. Those words stayed with Emma. That night, Emma opened her journal and wrote, Betrayal breaks you, but it also wakes you up. I lost them, but I found myself. She smiled for the first time in weeks. The rise of Emma. A few months passed, and the pain that once felt unbearable slowly turned into power. Emma was no longer the same broken girl who cried herself to sleep. She was healing, one small step at a time. Every morning, she followed a new routine. She woke up early, went for a jog, and listened to motivational podcasts instead of sad songs. She read books about confidence, growth, and forgiveness. She promised herself that she would never let someone else's actions destroy her peace again. Her art started to shine too. One of her paintings, a girl walking, through fire but not burning, won first prize at a local exhibition. The painting was titled Rebirth. When she received her award, the audience clapped loudly, and for the first time, Emma felt truly proud of herself. After the event, Ethan approached her with a smile. You did it, Emma. I told you, your art is special. She smiled. Thank you, Ethan, for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. He replied softly, You just needed a reminder of how strong you already were. Their friendship grew stronger with each passing day. They started studying together, going to the cafe near campus, and sometimes watching sunsets by the lake. Emma began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time, peace. But life wasn't done with its twists. One afternoon, Emma was walking back from her art class when she saw Mia waiting for her near the gate. Mia looked different. Her makeup was messy, her eyes swollen from crying. She looked nothing like the confident girl Emma used to know. Emma, please. Can we talk? Mia said, her voice shaking. Emma froze. It had been months since she'd last seen her. She wanted to walk away, but something inside her told her to listen. They sat on a bench near the garden. For a moment, neither spoke. The air was heavy. Then Mia broke the silence. I'm so sorry, she said, tears streaming down her cheeks. Ryan cheated on me. He lied to me, just like he lied to you. I thought I was special, but I was wrong. Emma looked at her quietly. The old Emma might have screamed or cried again, but the new Emma just felt calm. Mia, she said gently, you didn't just lose him. You lost yourself when you betrayed me. Mia sobbed harder. I know, and I hate myself for it. I miss you, Emma. You were my best friend. Emma sighed. You hurt me more than anyone ever could. But I forgive you, not because what you did was okay, but because I need to be free from the past. Mia looked up, shocked. You forgive me? Yes, Emma said softly. But forgiveness doesn't mean things will ever be the same. Mia nodded, understanding that their friendship had ended for good. She walked away, tears in her eyes, but maybe, just maybe, a little lighter in her heart. Later that night, Emma met Ethan for coffee. He noticed she looked thoughtful. "Everything okay?" he asked. "I saw Mia today," she said quietly. She apologized. "And how do you feel about that?" Emma smiled faintly. "Free, for the first time in a long time." Ethan nodded. That's the power of letting go. As they talked, Emma realized something important. Happiness isn't about having perfect people around you. It's about having peace within yourself. The next day, she started working on a new painting. A girl standing on a hill, with her hair blowing in the wind, looking toward the sunrise. She titled it New Beginnings, a New Light. Weeks turned into months, and Emma's life began to glow again. Not because everything was perfect, but because she was learning to find beauty in imperfection. Every day she woke up with a quiet strength. She didn't check her phone for messages from the past anymore. She didn't scroll through old photos or wonder what Ryan or Mia were doing. That chapter was closed. Now her focus was on her dreams, her art, and herself. Her painting, New Beginnings, caught the attention of one of her professors. He encouraged her to submit it to a national art competition. At first, Emma hesitated. She didn't think she was ready for something so big. But Ethan pushed her to try. "You've come this far," he said with a smile. "You have nothing to lose and everything to gain." Emma entered the competition, and to her surprise, her painting was selected for the finals. She couldn't believe it. She had gone from crying in her room over betrayal to standing on a national stage, recognized for her art. On the day of the exhibition, she wore a simple white dress and tied her hair up neatly. As she walked through the gallery, she saw her painting displayed under a spotlight. The girl in the painting looked fearless, like someone who had walked through darkness and found her own light. Reporters and judges praised her work. One of them asked, "What inspired this painting?" Emma smiled and replied softly, "Pain, and the courage to heal from it." Sometimes broken hearts make the most beautiful art. Her words touched everyone in the room. She didn't win first place, but she won something more valuable: respect, confidence, and a new purpose. After the event, Ethan found her outside, standing under the evening sky. "You were amazing in there," he said. Emma smiled. "I didn't even realize how far I've come until today." He nodded. "That's the thing about healing. It happens slowly, until one day, you just wake up and realize you're not hurting anymore." They stood quietly for a while, watching the stars. For Emma, those stars felt different now, brighter, warmer, almost like they were smiling down on her. Meanwhile, life wasn't so kind to Ryan. After losing both Emma and Mia, he realized what he had done. His new relationships never lasted because he kept comparing every girl to Emma, her kindness, her patience, her heart. One night, he saw her picture on social media, holding her art trophy. She looked radiant. He wanted to message her, but deep down, he knew she had moved on. Back on campus, Emma became a role model for other students. People often came to her for advice, not just about art, but about life. She would tell them, "You can't control who hurts you, but you can control how you rise after it." Her story spread quietly, not as gossip, but as inspiration. One day, after class, Ethan asked, "Do you ever miss them, Mia or Ryan?" Emma thought for a moment. "Sometimes I miss who they used to be, but I don't miss the pain they caused. I've learned to thank them, because if they hadn't hurt me, I wouldn't have found myself." Ethan smiled. "That's powerful." Emma laughed softly. "It's called growth." Later that night, as she walked home under the streetlights, she whispered to herself, "I'm proud of me." She finally understood that true happiness doesn't come from love or friendship alone. It comes from self-respect and peace of mind. And in that moment, Emma knew that her story wasn't about betrayal anymore. It was about rebirth. The return of Ryan. It was a bright afternoon when Emma's past came knocking again. She had just finished a successful art workshop and was walking out of the studio when she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Emma, wait." She froze. It was Ryan. For a moment, her heart skipped a beat, not because she still loved him, but because hearing his voice brought back memories she thought she had buried forever. She turned slowly. He looked different, tired, older, and guilty. "Hi," she said calmly. "Hey," Ryan replied, his voice low. "You look good." "Thanks," she said simply. There was an awkward silence between them, the same silence that once lived between broken hearts. Ryan finally spoke. I know I don't deserve to even talk to you, but I need to say this. I'm sorry, Emma, for everything. For hurting you, for lying, for being a coward. You didn't deserve any of it. Emma looked at him quietly. A year ago, those words might have made her cry. But now she felt nothing but peace. I know, she said softly. And I forgave you a long time ago. Ryan blinked, surprised. You did? Yes, but not for you. For me. Holding on to hate was only keeping me stuck in the past. And I don't live there anymore. He sighed and looked down. I miss you, Emma. I messed up everything. I thought Mia was what I wanted, but she wasn't you. Emma took a deep breath. Ryan, I cared for you deeply, but you broke something that can't be fixed. What we had is gone. And honestly, I'm glad. Because if that hadn't ended, I wouldn't have become who I am today. Her voice was calm, strong, and full of grace. Ryan's eyes softened. You've changed so much. I had to, she said. Pain changes people, but it doesn't have to destroy them. It can make them stronger. He nodded slowly, realizing that the girl standing in front of him wasn't the same one he betrayed. She had become someone powerful, not out of revenge, but out of self-love. I wish I could go back, he whispered. Emma gave a gentle smile. So do I. But maybe everything happened the way it was supposed to. For a moment, they just stood there. Then Emma picked up her art portfolio. Take care of yourself, Ryan. She turned and walked away, the setting sun casting a golden glow on her as if the universe itself was closing that chapter for good. Ryan watched her leave, knowing deep down he had lost something truly irreplaceable. Not a girlfriend, but a good-hearted person who had once loved him with everything she had. Later that evening, Emma sat by the lake with Ethan. The water shimmered with colors of the sunset. You look peaceful, he said. I saw Ryan today, she replied. Ethan raised an eyebrow, and he apologized. And I forgave him? Wow, he said, impressed. That takes strength. Emma smiled softly. Forgiveness isn't for the other person. It's for your own freedom. Ethan nodded. I like that. They sat quietly, listening to the sound of the waves. For the first time, Emma didn't feel haunted by the past. She felt free, completely and beautifully free. That night, she wrote in her journal, closure doesn't always come from an apology. Sometimes it comes from accepting that you deserve better and walking away with peace. As she closed her diary, she looked out the window and whispered, Thank you, universe. I'm finally ready for what's next. And deep inside her heart, she knew something wonderful was coming. A new chapter filled with light, love, and possibilities. A new beginning with Ethan. After her encounter with Ryan, Emma felt lighter, as if a heavy weight had finally been lifted off her shoulders. For the first time in a long while, her heart was quiet. No pain, no bitterness, just peace. Ethan noticed the change in her. You're glowing these days, he said one morning as they walked to class together. Emma laughed. Maybe that's what happens when you stop letting the past define you. He smiled. Or maybe it's because you've learned how to smile again. Emma's friendship with Ethan had grown naturally over time. He was her constant support, patient, kind, and understanding. He never tried to rush her or fix her. He just stood by her side, quietly reminding her of her worth. They spent hours together, painting in the art room, studying at the cafe, or sitting by the lake, talking about life and dreams. Emma felt safe around him, something she hadn't felt in a long time. One evening, after a long day at the art gallery, Ethan invited her to a small music festival in town. The air was warm, and fairy lights sparkled all around the park. People were dancing, laughing, and singing along to the live band. Emma hesitated at first. I haven't gone to something like this in ages. Ethan grinned. Then it's about time you do. You deserve some fun. As the music played, Ethan gently took her hand. Dance with me, he said. Emma laughed nervously. I can't dance. Neither can I, he chuckled. So we'll look silly together. They danced under the string lights, laughing like kids. For the first time since her heartbreak, Emma wasn't thinking about the past or worrying about the future. She was just living in the moment. When the song ended, she looked up at Ethan, and their eyes met. There was something unspoken there, a warmth, a connection that felt different from anything she had known before. Later, as they walked home, the streets were quiet. Ethan stopped and turned to her. Emma, can I tell you something? She nodded. I don't want to just be your friend anymore, he said softly. I've liked you for a long time, but I didn't say anything because I knew you were still healing. I wanted you to be ready first. Emma's heart raced. She didn't expect this. For a moment, she was speechless. Ethan, I don't know what to say. He smiled gently. You don't have to say anything. Just know that I'll be here, whether as your friend or something more. I just needed you to know. She smiled, touched by his honesty. Thank you. You've been there for me when I didn't even know how to be there for myself. That means more than you realize. They stood under the streetlight, and a soft breeze brushed past them. Emma didn't say yes or no. She just smiled, because deep down, her heart wasn't afraid anymore. That night, as she lay in bed, she thought about everything. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the healing, and now, this unexpected feeling growing inside her. She wasn't sure what the future held, but she knew one thing for certain. She was ready to love again. This time, the right way. Over the next few weeks, things between Emma and Ethan changed subtly. There were longer glances, softer smiles, and moments that made her heart flutter. They still did everything as before, studying, painting, and laughing. But now, there was something deeper in their bond. Emma's mom even noticed it. You've been smiling a lot lately, she said over breakfast one morning. Emma blushed. Maybe life's finally being kind to me. Her mom smiled knowingly. Or maybe you've just learned how to be kind to yourself. That sentence stayed in Emma's heart. It reminded her of how far she had come, from heartbreak to healing, from tears to laughter, from loss to love. And in that moment, she realized something beautiful. Sometimes, life takes away people you think you need, only to replace them with the ones who truly deserve you. The test of love. For a few peaceful months, Emma's world seemed almost perfect. She was busy with art exhibits, helping younger students, and spending quiet evenings with Ethan. Their bond deepened naturally. They didn't even have to call it love. It was simply there, in the way they listened, laughed, and supported each other. But life never stays smooth forever. The misunderstanding. It started with a rumor. A new student named Lily joined the art club. She admired Ethan's work and often asked him for help. They spent extra hours in the studio, bent over sketches and colors. One afternoon, Emma walked in unexpectedly. She saw Ethan and Lily laughing together, his hand brushing a streak of paint from her cheek. For a second, Emma's chest tightened. The old fear returned, that quiet whisper of betrayal she thought she had buried. Ethan looked up, smiling. Hey, Emma, come see Lily's painting. But Emma's smile was weak. Sure, she said softly, forcing cheerfulness. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept telling herself not to overthink. Ethan isn't Ryan, she reminded herself. He's different. Still, the memory of that moment lingered like a shadow. The next day, she became distant. She skipped art club meetings, replying to Ethan's messages with short answers. He noticed right away. Finally, he came to her dorm. Emma, what's going on? Did I do something? She hesitated, then sighed. I saw you with Lily yesterday. Ethan blinked. Oh, that's what this is about? Emma looked down. It just reminded me of something I don't want to remember. Ethan gently lifted her chin. Emma, I would never hurt you. You know that, right? She nodded, eyes filling with tears. I know, it's just hard sometimes. When you've been betrayed once, it's like your heart keeps waiting for it to happen again. He pulled her into a hug. Then let me prove to you every day that you're safe with me. And he did. He didn't avoid Lily. He simply made sure Emma always felt included, always knew she mattered. Slowly, her doubts faded. She realized that love isn't about never feeling fear. It's about trusting someone enough to face that fear together. A lesson in trust. A week later, Ethan surprised Emma with a small gift, a silver bracelet with the words, "Trust the journey, I've engraved on it." What's this for? She asked. For the strongest person I know, he said. A reminder that not everyone who smiles at you will hurt you. Emma smiled through tears. You always know what to say. He shrugged playfully. Maybe because I listen to you more than you think. From then on, their relationship grew even deeper. They didn't hide from problems anymore. They talked, they laughed, they healed, together. A glimpse of the future. Months passed. Emma graduated with honors in fine arts, and Ethan was offered a job at a design studio in another city. It meant distance and another test of love. When he told her the news, she was quiet for a moment. That's amazing, Ethan. You should take it. He looked at her, surprised. You're not upset? She shook her head. No, I want you to grow. We'll figure it out. He smiled, proud of her strength. We always do. The night before he left, they walked to the lake where they used to sit together. The water shimmered under the moonlight. Ethan took her hand. I don't know what the future holds, Emma, But I do know this: you changed my life. She smiled softly. And you helped me believe in love again. They stood in silence, their hearts full of gratitude instead of fear. The distance between them. When Ethan moved to the new city, the first few days felt strange for both of them. Emma would wake up and check her phone, half expecting a message that said, "I'm outside, let's get coffee." Now the messages were little hearts, photos of his new office, and short video calls late at night. They promised to stay honest and patient. Still, distance has its own quiet tests. Days apart, Emma threw herself into work. She started teaching art classes to children, smiling at their messy drawings and their laughter. But sometimes, when she packed up her paints and walked home alone, she felt the emptiness of evenings without Ethan's company. Ethan, too, missed her deeply. His new job was exciting but demanding. Deadlines, meetings, and long nights left him exhausted. Yet he never ended a day without sending her a simple text. "Good night, sunshine. I'm proud of you." Those little words were enough to make her smile. One weekend, Emma visited him. When she stepped off the train, Ethan was waiting with flowers and that same gentle smile she loved. For 2 days, they explored the city together: museums, street food, endless laughter. It wasn't about grand gestures. It was about feeling at home in each other's presence. When she boarded the train to go back, he held her hands tightly. "I know distance is hard," he said, "but every mile is worth it for us." She nodded, tears glistening. "We'll make it work." A new opportunity. Back home, Emma received an unexpected email. A well-known gallery in Ethan's city had seen her work online and wanted to feature her art in an upcoming exhibition titled Healing Through Colors. Her heart raced. It was a dream come true, and it would mean moving closer to Ethan again. She called him right away. "Ethan, you won't believe this." When she told him, he cheered so loudly she laughed through happy tears. "That's amazing. It's like the universe is bringing us back together," he said. Over the next few weeks, Emma prepared for the exhibition. She painted every night, creating pieces that told her story of pain, forgiveness, and love that grew stronger despite distance. Each canvas felt like a chapter of her life, and she poured her entire heart into it. Reunion. When she finally moved to Ethan's city for the exhibition, he met her at the gallery. The walls were filled with her art, bright colors, deep emotions, and messages of hope. Crowds admired her work, but Ethan's proud gaze meant the most. One painting in particular caught everyone's attention: a girl standing on a bridge between two cities, holding a heart made of light. Emma had titled it, "No Distance Too Far." After the show, Ethan hugged her tightly. "You did it, Emma. You turned your story into light." She smiled. "And you've been my light all along." That night, as they walked home under the city lights, Emma realized how much they had grown, not just as lovers, but as individuals who learned to trust, to wait, and to believe. 9. The proposal. The weeks after the exhibition were like a beautiful dream. Emma's paintings received praise from critics, and people started recognizing her as the girl who turned pain into art. She was invited to speak at schools and small events, telling her story of forgiveness, growth, and love. Ethan was always there, her biggest cheerleader, the one clapping loudest at every event. But lately, he had been acting a little strange, distracted, secretive, always on his phone. Whenever she asked what he was up to, he would smile and say, "You'll see soon." Emma had no idea what was coming. Hasta. The surprise plan. One evening, Ethan told her, "Don't make plans for Saturday. I have somewhere to take you." She raised an eyebrow. "Where?" He grinned. "You'll find out." Saturday arrived. The day was warm, the sky painted in soft shades of gold. Ethan picked her up in his car and drove toward the countryside. Music played softly, and the wind danced through her hair. After about an hour, they arrived at a hilltop overlooking a wide lake, the same lake where they had shared countless memories, where Emma had once cried, dreamed, and learned to heal. As they walked up the path, Emma noticed fairy lights hanging from the trees, a small table set for two, and her favorite flowers placed in glass jars. Soft music played in the background. Her eyes widened. "Ethan, what is this?" He smiled nervously. "A place that reminds me of your strength. And of us." He led her to the edge of the hill, where the sunset painted the sky in orange and pink. "Emma," he began softly, "you've taught me so much. You showed me what forgiveness looks like, what healing feels like, and what love truly means. I've watched you grow from pain into power, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." Emma's eyes filled with tears. Ethan continued, "When I met you, you were painting your heart back together. And now, you've painted a whole new life. I want to be part of that forever." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Inside was a delicate silver ring shaped like a tiny brushstroke. Simple, elegant, just like her. "Emma Grace," he said, his voice trembling, "will you marry me?" For a moment, Emma couldn't speak. The girl who once thought love only brought pain was now standing under the sunset, with someone who had shown her that love could also heal. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she smiled and whispered, "Yes." Ethan slipped the ring onto her finger. Everyone hiding behind the trees, their friends, her mom, her art students, began cheering. Emma laughed through tears, realizing that Ethan had planned this with everyone she loved. He hugged her tightly. "I told you," he whispered, "the universe always brings good people back to you." She looked up at him and said, "And sometimes, it brings you exactly who you were meant to find." As the sun dipped below the horizon, fairy lights twinkled all around them. They danced, just like that night at the festival, laughing, holding each other, and promising a future built on honesty, respect, and love. 10. The shocking twist ending. The weeks after the proposal passed in a blur of happiness. Emma couldn't stop looking at the ring on her finger, not because it sparkled, but because it meant peace, healing, and a love she had built slowly and honestly. She and Ethan began planning a small, outdoor wedding by the same lake where he had proposed. Everything felt perfect, until one afternoon, just a month before the wedding, Emma received a message from an unknown number. "Hi, Emma, this is Mia. Please don't ignore me. I need to talk to you. It's important." Her hands trembled. It had been over 2 years since she had last seen her former best friend. She hesitated, then decided to meet her. "Hi." The unexpected meeting. They met at a quiet cafe. Mia looked completely different, calmer, humbler, almost fragile. "Thank you for coming," Mia said, her voice trembling. "I know I don't deserve your time, but I had to see you." Emma sat quietly, waiting. Mia continued, "After you forgave me that day, I kept thinking about my choices. I realized I had been chasing the wrong kind of happiness, the kind that hurts others. Since then, I've been trying to fix my life. I started working at a counseling center for women who've been betrayed or hurt. It's my way of making up for the pain I caused." Emma was speechless. She hadn't expected this. Mia smiled sadly. "I heard about your art, your engagement. You turned your pain into light. Emma, I just wanted to tell you, you inspired me to change." Tears filled Emma's eyes. All those years ago, Mia had broken her heart. But now here she was, saying that Emma's forgiveness had helped her find redemption. Emma reached across the table and took her hand. "I'm proud of you, Mia." Mia started crying. "You have every reason to hate me." Emma shook her head gently. "Hate keeps us in the past. We both deserve peace." They hugged, and for the first time, Emma didn't feel anger, only gratitude. The real shock, a few days later, at the gallery where Emma was preparing a new set of paintings, the manager called her. "There's a woman who wants to buy one of your works anonymously," he said. She paid double the price and left a note. The note read, "For the girl who taught me that forgiveness heals the soul, M." Emma smiled through tears. When she showed the note to Ethan later that night, he said softly, "That's the twist, isn't it? The real shock. That the person who once broke you could become part of your healing." Emma nodded. "Exactly. Life isn't just about pain or revenge. Sometimes the most shocking thing is realizing that people can change, even the ones who hurt us." Full circle. The wedding day arrived. The sun glowed over the lake, the same place where Emma had once stood heartbroken, then reborn, then engaged. As she walked down the aisle toward Ethan, she saw familiar faces, her family, her friends, her art students, and, standing quietly in the back with tears in her eyes, Mia. Emma smiled at her, and Mia smiled back. No words, no drama, just peace. When Emma reached Ethan, he took her hand and whispered, "You ready?" She nodded, her heart full. "More than ever." The ceremony was simple, filled with laughter, music, and love. When it ended, Emma looked out over the lake and thought about everything. The betrayal, the tears, the forgiveness, the growth. Her voice narrated softly in her mind, as if speaking to her younger self. What happened was painful, but what came after was powerful. Sometimes the people who break you are the same ones who push you toward your true self. The shock isn't that they betrayed you. The shock is how beautifully you rose after it. The camera could have faded there, her holding Ethan's hand, the light shimmering on the water, her smile calm and confident. And just before the screen went black, her final line would echo. Forgive, heal, grow, because your story isn't over yet. The end.